Dennis Allen has to go. And we're going to be talking about a bunch of different head coach candidates that the New Orleans Saints could go and hire or at least interview this offseason. Now, I will start with this. I don't think the Saints are going to make any coaching changes during the season. I don't think we're going to see Dennis Allen get fired during the regular season, at least until you're still out of playoff contention. You're alive. You're on top of the NFC South, so I don't think a coaching change is going to be made anytime soon. But look at the frickin' resume, man. 20-43 as a head coach. That's including his Raiders stint. He's 12-15 as a Saints head coach. Wherever he's been a loser. It's just not acceptable. This note is unbelievable to me, too. He ranks 169th out of 174 all-time in winning percentage. So that means there's 5 coaches who have coached 60 or more games that have been worse than Dennis Allen. And the Saints have a good team, but this coaching staff is not a good coaching staff. And I'm not the only one who thinks that. I'm not the only one who's frustrated with how the Saints are playing. Look at what the team captain, look at what your number one guy, Cameron Jordan's saying on social media. Screw a 24-hour rule. And if you don't know about this, it's Cam Jordan's rule of I can only be upset about a game 24 hours. He's big on that. That's like a huge deal to him. This one's going to sting more than that, than more ways than one. A week of watching what we did as a team the first half to come back just to say good fight. That's clearly not a winning formula. Take this week and get ready to win the back half hoodat. Now that tweet came out after the loss to the Minnesota Vikings. But Cam Jordan's clearly fed up. And I'm not saying that Cam Jordan's saying, oh, but we hate Dennis Allen. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that Cam Jordan's fed up with what's going on here. And I'm not the only one as an analyst or as a guy on YouTube or in social media who's saying this kind of stuff. Look at what Colin Cowherd's saying. Now, he's wrong about a lot of things with the Saints, and he's a little bit of a hater, but I'm going to give him credit where it's due and call a spade here. Colin Cowherd hit the nail on the head with this one. Dennis Allen Saints, you have no idea what team you're getting half to half, week to week. They're all over the map, and that's not working. And I couldn't agree more. So for today's show, like I said, I'm going to break down 10 head coaching options for the New Orleans Saints if they fire Dennis Allen this offseason. Of course, he may be around. If they make the playoffs, if they win a couple playoff games or even one, there is not a clear path to Dennis Allen getting fired. Personally, I think he should be no matter what. Unless you win a Super Bowl, then, maybe. That's your key to staying around. But other than that, I think Dennis Allen's got to go. And to set the scene, there's going to be a lot of teams who are head coach needy this offseason. The Bears, they may want to move on from Matt Eberflus. The Los Angeles Chargers, Brandon Staley ain't it. Frank Reich, I don't know, man. Panthers kind of stink. Washington Commanders, they may be done with Riverboat Ron. New Orleans Saints, obviously, done with Dennis Allen. But here's the thing, with the Las Vegas Raiders, they already fired their head coach. So Antonio Pierce is now going to be the head coach. Could he be around? Are they going to look elsewhere? That's a team to monitor. The Atlanta Falcons may be done with this Arthur Smith charade. Personally, I think that Arthur Smith is a phenomenal head coach. Completely unbiased to the New Orleans Saints. I think that Arthur Smith is just fine. He's the best head coach that the Falcons could ever have. And I think that it would be stupid for the Falcons to fire Arthur Smith. Again, that's a totally unbiased as a Saints fan. I have no bias whatsoever on that. The Los Angeles Rams. Sean McVay's already talked about retiring once or twice before, so maybe this is the year he does it. Mike Vrabel, I think he's a great coach. He's a great defensive mind, but is he the guy that Tennessee wants to keep around? Rand Carthen may want to look elsewhere. And then New England Patriots. Bill Belichick, I don't know if you saw the clip on social media, but he's a little bit more concerned with getting out of a little shorty's apartment or a house early in the morning than getting Mac Jones to score touchdowns. So if you think that the New Orleans Saints need to make a change with the coaching staff, whether it's head coach, whether it's offensive coordinator, whether just any coach, if you think they need to make any change whatsoever, hit that thumbs up icon. Let the New Orleans Saints front staff see how many likes this video has and be like, oh, crap, Who Dat Nation really is fed up. Let's go ahead and can Dennis Allen and Pete Carmichael. All right, let's break down my Dennis Allen replacements. The first one is offensive coordinator for the Cincinnati Bengals, Brian Callahan. And just some notes and some background information on Callahan. We're going to do this for each one of the candidates. So Callahan, he works alongside with head coach Zach Taylor every single week to game plan for the Bengals. Now, obviously, Cincinnati's kind of like in a weird rut right now, but let's be real. The Bengals are a good football team. They're a very talented football team, and Brian Callahan knows how to utilize all the talent. He knows how to hone that talent in and put it to a good goal. He's 39 years old. He's already coached in 2 Super Bowls in his career, and he's had 3 head coaching interviews last year with the Denver Broncos. Obviously, they went with Sean Payton, but he also interviewed with Indianapolis and Arizona. Now, I'm going to get into some more coaching replacements here in just a moment, but I want to give a quick shout out to our awesome presenting sponsor, Prize Picks. And Prize Picks is so much fun, and it's so easy to play. You just go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. You plug in promo code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Now, I'm not necessarily the best decision maker when it comes to putting in my projections. That being said, I have a lot of fun doing it. So I'm going to go ahead and give you guys what producer Smitty here in the Chat Sports office is. Let me tell you about his projections. More than Kenneth Walker rushing yards. More on Tyler Lockett receiving yards. And less on Isaiah Pacheco. And I can't make this up. You can literally see I'm looking at the text right now. So I asked Smitty, how much did you turn your Prize Picks into? Didn't you put down like a $30 bet that went crazy? Listen to this. Turned $30 into $60. I turned $90 into $270, $50 into $500, $400 or $40 into $200 more. So that's $700 total dollars on a $30 bonus. So if you want to follow what producer Smitty did right here and go make yourself $700, I'd go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use that promo code CLNS. And did I mention that $30 was with that deposit bonus? So he didn't spend any of his own money. That was free money that he just went and made a profit on. So go check it out, Prize Picks. It's an awesome sponsor. All the information is in the comment section description of this video. Shout out to Prize Picks. It's daily fantasy sports made easy. All right, next guy I want to talk about, Ejiro Evero. He is over in, the scumbag team of the Carolina Panthers. That means he's a decent head coach, and he has had a lot of head coach interest. So he did have, just last offseason, 5 interviews for the head coach vacancies. He interviewed for all 5 of them. Every single one of the open head coaching jobs, he was a candidate for it. And he did have time under Vic Fangio and Dom Capers, who were quality coaches who were successful in this league. So he has a good background, and he has good leaders teaching him these things, or he's gotten to be a mentor behind some really talented football minds, if you will. So the next one I want to talk about, Ben Johnson, baby. Go give me Ben Johnson. He's my number 1 guy. And he is the number 1 guy, I guarantee you, for every single football team. I guess you could say, to quote The Office, he's the belle of the ball, So Ben Johnson, if you guys didn't know this, he joined the Detroit Lions in 2019 as an offensive quality control coach. This year, their Lions offense is unbelievable. They are so good. They're number 2 in yards per game offensively with over 400. We're lucky if the Saints get 300 yards on offense. I mean, come on. He's had 1 year of offensive coordinator experience, and this is what he's doing? You don't want to take a gamble on that? You don't want to go and try and get that? I think Ben Johnson is my number 1 guy. He is the guy that I will just write a blank check to, say, hey, you're smart, you're young, you're talented. He is a problem solver. He knows what to do. He's a leader of men, and I want Ben Johnson wearing a fleur-de-lis on his chest or on his hat next season. But sound off for me, Saints fans. We've talked about offensive and defensive-minded guys. So what kind of head coach would you like? Offensive or defensive? Currently, Dennis Allen is defensive. But we all know this is an offensive-driven league. So you let me know in the comment section what we're going to do. All right, so I also want to talk about C.J. Stroud because he's another guy that has been developed very well by Bobby Slowick. Bobby Slowick has been stellar this season with the Houston Texans. He's the offensive coordinator. DeMeco Ryans brought him over from San Francisco when Ryans took over as the head coach in Houston. I think if you go get Bobby Slowick, he is a guy that you can definitely build a team around. He is a guy that you can get a lot of smart development around a quarterback. He's a guy that if you go and draft a player like a Jane Daniels, a Michael Penix, whatever, you can get better quarterback play, get development, and get that kind of, control of an offense because, goodness gracious, just go look at C.J. Stroud. He's playing at an MVP level. He is playing lights out. It is unbelievable. And shout out to the Carolina Panthers for not drafting him. But guys, if you want more Saints videos and live content, subscribe today to join our squad of over 23,000. That number doesn't happen on accident. You don't just accidentally get 23,000 new subscribers. If you want to join that family, we're on the road to 24K. Join us, help us out, and lock us in today. So another name to talk about, Press Taylor. He's the offensive coordinator for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think he could be a good guy. He has helped with Trevor Lawrence. But I want to talk about Ken Dorsey because Ken Dorsey is a very intriguing option. He was just recently fired by the Buffalo Bills. And here's the thing about Ken Dorsey. I don't want to sit here and say that he's the guy to blame. I don't want to sit here and say that he's not the guy to blame. To be quite honest with you guys, I haven't watched every single snap of Bills football like I have the Saints. But I can tell you this. Could Ken Dorsey be a little bit of a scapegoat? I mean, just a little bit. That's my thing. Josh Allen spoke very highly of him. And quite honestly, let's call it what it is. He may not be playing like it, but Josh Allen is one of the guys who's continuously in who's the top 5 quarterback in the league right now. He's always in that conversation. Look what he had to say. I feel like I owe him a lot of the success that I've had in my career. And he's been a huge part of that. So it's sad to see him go. The fact is, we play better as a team. We probably don't have to make a move like that. He was a big part of what we've been doing here in the last few years. So Josh Allen on Ken Dorsey, I think that, that says enough. Allen is a very young and well-respected player in this league, so I do want to see what Ken Dorsey could possibly do in the Saints. I think that he is a smart offensive coordinator. Sure, the decision-making hasn't been great at times, but it would be a lot better than what you got right now. I'm sorry. It'll just be a lot better than what it is right now. And if that's loser talk, I'm sorry, but it has to get better. Another guy that you could go and get. What about Jim Harbaugh? Yeah, the head honcho, the Wolverine, the sign stealer himself. Not really. I'm just kidding. Sorry, James. But Harbaugh, he has shown interest in returning to the NFL multiple times. There was buzz about him joining the Bears, joining the Vikings, joining all sorts of different teams these past few off seasons. And he's a great football mind who's been successful wherever he goes. At every level, he has been successful. He has been a winner, he has been a developer, and he has been just lights out, incredible across the board. I think that Jim Harbaugh would be excellent as an NFL head coach. And quite honestly, he's the leader that this team needs. He's a guy who's going to come in, right the ship, and fix things immediately. And I truly do believe that Jim Harbaugh would be an excellent hire for the New Orleans Saints. But what say you? He doesn't even have to come back to the NFL. He could just stick around in Michigan. Maybe he isn't tired of all the antics. Maybe he isn't tired of, the Ohio State nonsense or the having to play Rutgers or all that BS. Maybe he isn't tired. Maybe he still likes it. Will Jim Harbaugh return to the NFL? Just give me a simple yes or no in the comment section. All right, another guy that I want to discuss, Brian Flores. He is a very, very interesting topic because he's a really, he was a head coach very recently in the league. And if you remember with the Miami Dolphins, that last year he was with them, went on a 10-game win streak to finish the season out. And the Dolphins fired him. So, I'm not going to sit here and say that he is a great option, but he's a smart defensive mind. He has a lot of coaching experience, and he did do a good job in Miami. He wasn't a terrible head coach. And then in 2022, he also did take a step down in terms of, where he was ranking in the coaching hierarchy, if you will. He was a senior defensive assistant and linebackers coach for Pittsburgh, but then is now a defensive coordinator with the Minnesota Vikings. So, to me, that says he's wanting to put the work in to get back to being on top. So I think that would be a great option for Brian Flores and the New Orleans Saints. At least just go give him a call. The Philadelphia Eagles are a pretty good football team. What about Sean Desai? Teams might like Sean Desai, and he might be a name that could be hired very quickly by a football team very soon because he's a Vic Fangio disciple. He has the ability to make adjustments, and he's proven that. He has good play calling experience, and he's adjusted to lineup changes very well. So I think that Sean Desai, if you wanted to stay with the defensive side of the ball, is a good option for New Orleans. But again, I like offensive, so let's go to the other side of the ball for the Philadelphia Eagles. Sorry, Chase Sr., love you, man, but if you have a good team, people are going to want your coaches. So Brian Johnson has done a great job. He has done an absolutely phenomenal Houdini-type development of Jalen Hurts. He's been so good. Jalen Hurts every single year has gotten better. This year, it's a little kind of not down, but like it's not as good as what it has been. But every single year, there's been steady improvement. He's gotten smarter. He's gotten more poised. He's gotten grown as a better leader. He's grown as a better football player. And this is his first year as an NFL offensive coordinator. And let's call it what it is. This league is driven by quarterbacks. If you don't have a good quarterback, you're not a good football team. Brian Johnson has a great quarterback resume. You ever heard of the NCAA football game? He was on the cover of it. I don't know if you knew that, but he was. He's a pretty good football player. He tore it up at Utah. He is now tearing it up as a coach. I think that Brian Johnson would be awesome in New Orleans. But here's the thing, guys. Any of those 10 guys I'd be much happier with than what we have right now. Quite honestly, anything would be better than what we got. I think that, straight up, I think that my great-grandmother could go and coach this team better. It's just plain and simple. But if you want more coverage, if you want more thoughts, or if you just want to interact with me, share your thoughts, or just say, hey, you're an idiot, or hey, I like what you had to say, hit me up on Twitter. Well, I guess X, formerly known as Twitter, at TraceGirouard48. The link for that is in the comment section description of this video. Y'all stay golden. We'll catch you next time.